It is totally possible to buy it back. Your time. I recently read a fantastic book by a Canadian entrepreneur named Dan Martell. I've heard him speak several times before, and I've actually been to his hometown in, it's not his hometown, it's where he lives now. I think it's Kelowna, BC. I spent most of the summer in BC with my wife, traveling, exploring, and doing some consulting projects. But nonetheless, I wanted to share several essential productivity tactics. This isn't from the book, but there are some concepts that I have been applying from the book that are carried forward from previous life, but I just want to share those with you, and hopefully you find at least one nugget of value in this short episode. So the first is the Pareto principle. Wilfredo Pareto was an economist, and basically you are going to get 80% of your results from 20% of your activities. So it's important to really take an analysis of what you're doing, whether it's business-wise, relationship-wise, health-wise, exercise-wise, and find out what is working for you and hone in on those. Even further is from an entrepreneur from Australia, James Schramko. It's a 64-4 principle where he even narrows it down even further and gets more specific and more granular, eliminating all the things that are not serving you well with your ultimate goals. And if you don't have goals, then take a moment and just stop right here and get those goals generated in the various aspects of your life. One of the tools that you can use is called the Wheel of Life. It's free online. I think Tony Robbins promotes it. I'm not sure if he came up with it or not, but it's a simple way to look at different aspects of your life and see where you are now, and you can extrapolate that and make clear-cut, actionable goals based on the current metrics. The next is to eliminate distractions and focus on a single task at a time. There's a concept called attention residue. Many people who think that multitasking and switching back and forth and having 50 windows open and 3 screens going at all times is the way to get more shit done, and that's never been far from the truth. As a person switches from task to task, there's residue from the previous task in the working memory and in the mind that's sort of clouding and causing slowed output, slowed processing speed. So focus on something. It takes a little bit of time to ramp up, and then you can get into deep work. I encourage you to check out Cal Newport's work on that, and then you can have an excellent session of output. And it's probably not going to be any more than 60 to 90 minutes based on science. And then you can switch tasks and do something else. But do not try to do 5 things at once or 5 things in rapid succession and think that you're going to produce great output and excellent work on any of them, because it's not going to happen. Delegate non-critical tasks to others. This took me a long, long time to learn. I put an episode up earlier on this channel. It was about the, I think, $40,000 lawnmower. And basically, it took me 3 hours to mow the lawn, another 2 hours to weed whip it, another 30, 40 minutes to clean it up. And I hired a gentleman with a huge golf course type mower to come in. He could mow the entire property in 30 minutes, go around with his commercial grade leaf blower and get all the clippings and everything blown off the deck, the driveway, everything else. And he was out of there in 45 minutes, cost me $60 and saved me half a day, which is something that I spent every week doing on this massive property. So delegate things that don't serve you. You're going to spend a little money getting it done, but there are plenty of things that suck up time and resources that don't move the needle forward in the long run. Utilize tools and technology to automate repetitive tasks. Obviously, ChatGPT came out recently, and this is a game changer for many people, whether it's writing or creating lists or doing research. There are so many automated tools out there. There's IFTT. I just can't even begin to scratch the surface on this. I'll be covering a number of things that can be done for home automation in another video. But utilize tools, resources. Spend the $20 a year to get the little app on your phone that will automate something and save you hours every week. It's well worth it. Take breaks and recharge yourself, whether that's meditation or I like to do a napitation. I use the Peloton app on my phone and just a simple 10 minutes with my eyes closed, even if I don't fall asleep. Non-sleep deep rest is critical. If you haven't checked out Matthew Walker's work on sleep or Andrew Huberman's podcast called the Huberman Lab, fantastic resources that will really explain how these simple things that can be injected in your day will exponentially increase your productivity and your output. Trying to maintain a work-life balance. I don't like the word balance because it's more of a cyclical ebb and flow. There are times when you're fully on and fully off, and there's times that you reach the end of the day and you're maxed out, or there are other days when you are ready to go. You eat supper and you're back at it, and you're cranking out some high-level content. You're writing a blog post. You're doing the chapter of your book, or you're planning tomorrow's boardroom session. Any of that, it doesn't matter. It's all about accepting the ebb and flow and not trying to balance out every day smoothly. So it needs to be maintained. Obviously, there's relationships and obligations and expectations, but understand that it's not a completely level teeter-totter, if you will. And then the last, I talked about this at the beginning of this, is to set achievable and measurable goals. You can look up SMART goals, which is fine, but really trying to map out something that is achievable. Obviously, if you're setting goals that are unrealistic and you never meet them and you feel a sense of dejection and failure all the time, that is obviously going to limit your motivation and prevent you from achieving greatness. And so it's just set the bar high, and even if you don't hit the bar, you'll still achieve something that is impressive and you can congratulate yourself on. But don't set the bar so low that it's easy to meet and that your progress is +1 instead of 10x. I love Grant Cardone. He is the master of the 10x rule, and I think there's a lot of value in setting goals that are lofty and admirable and maybe a little bit out of reach, but as you continue to extrapolate and exponentially improve yourself, you're going to meet these goals and exceed many of them. So don't be afraid to dream big. That's it. Be safe, be well, have a fantastic week.